claim 0 to 60 is 7.9 seconds, and we just did 7. Hi guys, Alex Peak Performance Reviews. Welcome to another vlog and welcome to another car review. Today I am in a petrol combustion car, which is amazing, and it's by the awesome bods at OMODA, a new manufacturer and brand to this channel, but I cannot wait to drive it, to be honest with you. A 1.6 litre turbocharged 4-pot engine with 186 horsepower, 275 newton meters of torque. Looks quite nice as well. I quite like it with the aero wheels and just this kind of cool diamond grille pattern here. But yeah, in general, looks like a nice place to be. But I'm going to experience that, and I can't wait to give you my opinions on the car. It's a 7-speed DCT gearbox as well, and all packaged in a package that is 25,000 or circa 25,000 pounds, which for me, from what I've seen on the interior and the exterior of this, I mean, £25,000 in today's market with a 7-year warranty, unbelievable. Anyway, is it any good? This is what my channel is all about. Peak performance. Let's see what we think of the car. And as always, guys, if you've got any questions, hit us up as well. Right, so let's do a little 0 to 60 test. This books 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds, which for a car with circa 186 horsepower or brake horsepower with 275 newton meters of torque, it's not half bad. But some manufacturers tend to lie. I don't find that all the time, but sometimes they tend to get a little bit better. Some do get actually even worse, but most tend to get a little bit better than the stated. Let's see what we can do on our draggy box. It's all ready, so I'm going to put it, let's make sure we put it in sports, because obviously it gives us the best chance. I'm going to put my foot on the brake pedal. Here we go. Preload it a little bit. 1, 2, 3, go. Go. Nearly there, nearly there. Done it. Let's have a look, see what that was. Success. We have just done 0 to 60 and a bit of uphill to start with. It's kind of even itself out, but really, really good. So claim 0 to 60 is 7.9 seconds, and we just did 7.2. How is that? Absolutely awesome. 1.6 turbocharged car with 186 horsepower. Dual clutch gearbox. Really, really impressive. Really impressive. Let's give it another go though. Make sure it's a fair test. We want to do 2 or 3 runs and see what we can get. Right, so let's do another 0 to 60 pull. Before I carry on, it's worth noting what platform this is. It's a front engine car, front wheel drive. So obviously there's always going to be a bit of traction limitation. That being said, on the first run, I certainly had no traction issues. Like I say, this 7-speed DCT box is doing a great job. You can put it in this a full kind of sports manual where you can tip it on the gearbox down here, or you can just kind of let it do its thing. I kind of feel like if you let it do its thing, it feels quicker letting it do what it wants to do. Let's give this another go. 0 to 60, 7.27 I think it was to be. 1, 2, 3. Goes through about 3 gears, I believe. No, we're in 4th, so it's gone through 3 gears, changed three times, and that has just done 0 to 60 in 6.87 seconds. 6.87 seconds, guys. I'm gonna leave that there because that is absolutely fantastic. 1.6 litre turbocharged engine, and we have just done a glorious, and it is glorious, 6.87 seconds 0 to 60. So book spec 7.9, we've just done a 6.87 0 to 60. Not bad at all. I am very, very, very impressed with that. So yes, onto the drive, and where do we start? Well, where does this lie in the segment? Well, it is a relatively big SUV. It's a bit bigger than things like, say, Cupra Born, more similar kind of size to the Nissan Ariya, things like that, perhaps the Qashqai. But yeah, what is this like in comparison? Well, I've driven most of those cars, and I have to say, on first impressions, just from a small bit of driving, it feels really quite good. It's a very comfortable drive, and what I love about OMODA as a brand actually is I'm hearing or been told of their model and the way they kind of look to do things in the market. Apparently things like suspension changes, geometry, anything, all of these things they take on board depending on the area and locality. So in Europe, in different places, in the UK, they will change the kind of way the car will feel and the way the suspension's almost like set up, which is incredible. I don't think many, especially big companies like OMODA, who have been in the market, certainly in China, for 21 years, yes, they're new to the UK, to do that kind of extra R&D, I think is nothing short of amazing. The fact that they also put a 7-year warranty on these things, 100,000 mile. There's an EV version of this exact car, the E5, and it has obviously really high quality battery. That OMODA warrant that battery on that EV for 8 years. But I love that they also have, like say, this petrol combustion motor for people that don't want to look at that. An EV is a car that, you know, for them isn't practical. I mean, this car will get 350 miles or 360 miles out of one tank of fuel, and it does on paper have a range of about 31.5 miles per gallon. That being said, press bods and lots of other people have been getting about 35 to 40 miles per gallon without too much of a problem, which is really, really good. In fact, on my drive, just for the first kind of 5-6 miles I've been out in it, I'm getting way over 40 miles per gallon. In fact, I'm getting 46 miles per gallon. Now, when I pushed on, it did go down into the 35 kind of range, but in general, we're getting, around 41 miles per gallon, which for a car of this size, with this practicality, that boot space, the size in general, and leather interior and good quality infotainment systems that this has, that's actually quite incredible. You probably would have seen, and I went straight into it, I'd done a 0 to 60 test. Book spec on this is 7.9, and obviously I've smashed out a verified 6.87 second 0 to 60 dash, which is absolutely incredible. The quality of this machine is really, really good. It's got this beautiful 10.25 dual HD display in front, this on the infotainment. Apple Android Auto, but the infotainment system on this car is incredible. The processor that they use on these panels here at OMODA are really, really nice. If you touch the screen, the display is so responsive. So they've used really high quality, high grade, fast processors in, let's say, the infotainment system, so to speak. So really, really high end. The interior is gorgeous. It has these kind of synthetic leather, which is better for the environment. Leather seats, and they're kind of winged backed, like bucket type seats. And I'm in the comfort model, and you can get the noble model. The comfort model is the base model, which has a plethora of products in and within it, and spec within it. Everything you can think of on a high-end executive car, really, these have. The Noble adds a secondary electric seat, which this is, the driver's seat is electric. But like I say, if you get the Noble, you get twin electric seats. Heated front and rear on the Noble, but we get heated seats and even a heated steering wheel on the Noble range as well. We get 360 degree camera. I'll put it up on the screen now just so I make sure I get the spec right, because there's so much spec on this car. But let's, aside from what is an awesome interior on this, I have to say something way more akin to a car that would be certainly way north of £30,000. In fact, the interior in this for me is more akin to a car that was probably, or should be, about £40,000. So very high end, really high quality. The leathers, like say, albeit synthetic type leathers, which are better for the environment anyway, are lovely. The metals and plastics are nice and sturdy and high end. You hit them and they don't rattle. And the lighting, the ambience and the textures of everything is beautiful. Sony sound system, really high-end 8-speaker system from Sony, which is gorgeous. The clarity is amazing. The sound level and decibel output is really good. But the most important thing is livability of this car. These seats are really comfortable, and it's really a nice place to be. 380 litres of boot space. It can be, say, if you put the rear seats down, it goes to way over 1,000 litres, which is nothing short of awesome. Yes, there are some other manufacturers in the ranges of these kind of SUV or big SUVs that have a bit of a bigger boot space. However, that is decently generous, so it's kind of similar to the Cooper Born, if anything, a little bit bigger. But yeah, in general, really nice. But one of the most important things I want to kind of let you guys know about is what I think of the drive. So it's got a different range of modes, and what I love about this is you can put it into kind of a full manual type of mode. So the DCT gearbox is, and the 7-speed DCT gearbox will change more often when you want it to, because sometimes when you go for the you put a bit of kind of revs on, the revs almost feel like they're going to hang because the car's ready to make sure it goes quite quick when you're in sport. But you've got this mode button, you've got a few little haptic touch buttons, but you've got the mode button just here, which is physical, really easy. You'll see a display on screen: eco, normal, sports. And I'm keeping it largely in sport, but like I say, if you want better miles per gallon, stick it in eco, and it is absolutely incredible. Normal's happy kind of medium. Eco, you definitely can feel that the steering is really light. The rack is relatively responsive. You kind of turn left and right, and you jink left and you jink right, and you get a decent amount of response. There's not loads of life in it because obviously it feels very electric, it feels very light in its assistance, but as you go through the modes, okay, normal, you can feel a little bit of weight, which I like, and as you go into sport, there's not much difference. You can probably see from the onboards, the suspension, definitely for the European and UK market, has been developed to be very soft, or decently soft, not too soft. But it's got quite a nice little engine note from this 1.6 turbocharged motor. And I tell you what, when you put your foot down and you get a rattle on, you can get a rattle on. This is a very decently quick car, sprightly, very torquey. 270, little bit of scramble from the front wheels, but traction very nice, managed very well. That's quite a nice little note, actually. Let's see what the brakes are like. Decent. Puts on the double hazards. Very good braking system. Or I say very good. It's I like the modulation and the feel underfoot. It's not too sharp, which I sometimes hate underfoot. But once you give it a good press, you get a lot of brake force out of that, which is nice. And it's nice and easy to modulate. So yeah, I've touched on steering feel. Yes, I probably would have liked a little bit more weight perhaps. That being said, it's not half bad. And it definitely gets a good shift on. Plenty of power for overtaking manoeuvres. And yeah, when you get some heat and then brakes especially, it brakes really nicely. So good brakes, plenty powerful enough for the weight that this car has. But overall, in terms of kind of suspension feel, I'm going to push it on a bit more around some of the kind of more lumpy, bumpy B roads, just to test that a bit more. It's actually a really nice place to be, and it does feel quite nice. Like I say, interior for me is absolutely stunning. I think the interior is much more akin to a much more expensive car, much more, in the sense of probably easy 40, maybe even 50,000 pounds. It's a very high quality interior, and so far am very, very impressed. The dual clutch gearbox works very well. It's decently responsive. I like this center console gearbox. Nice and easy to use, very user-friendly interface from the gearbox to settings. And yeah, it's you could definitely feel that they've made it for the UK market. The suspension's quite soft. It's not too soft, but again, I'm going to test it a little bit more when I really push it on a bit more. But overall, the way it rides on long journeys around lumpy, bumpy country roads on these UK roads is very good. It soaks up the bumps, and these are, you know, horrible roads, I have to say. It soaked them up really well without kind of making a fuss for you, the occupant. It's very quiet in here for a petrol combustion motor until you really wring its neck. And overall, yeah, I'm really impressed with that. Now, I did touch on it briefly, but I'll talk to you about it a bit more, because this touchscreen in here, I did mention how responsive it is, and how you can tell that it's got a good sensor in there, a good processor, should I say. I've just checked it out and I've just tried it and fiddled about with it, and yes, it has got to be one of the most responsive panels I have ever touched on a car manufactured whatsoever. It is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I'm going to rattle on a little bit more with this because we've had some good time in it now, and I really want to see what this car is like. It's definitely a quick car. Is it an ultimate sporty machine? No, it's not meant to be. It's quite high up. You can feel that the suspension and where you sit is really quite high. The chassis is, or suspension should I say, is relatively soft for these UK roads, and you do feel quite high, so it feels like a sporty SUV, but an SUV, so you've got to be aware of that. That being said, it soaks up these bumps and these lumps really well, and it rattles on at a fair old pace. And if you know, if you're in the right place, I suppose, if you're able to, legally, I don't know where that will be. This will go up to 121 miles an hour, and it's limited at that. And I would say, based on the way it feels like it goes, I reckon you could get up to that speed quite easily. Let's say it's decently quick. It certainly feels like a car with a good bit more horsepower than 186, and quite possibly it does. But I mean, from the specs and stats I've seen so far, and from driving the car, it feels much quicker than the power and the torque would suggest. All the same, it's not a bad amount of torque and brake horsepower. It's decent, very decent, but it just feels quicker. The DCT gearbox just needs a bit of waking up if you have it in that auto mode. Yes, look, like I said before, this is a soft car that's meant to be comfortable. You can feel that it moves around a little bit with the undulations of the road, but the grip's there. It's got these decent Kumo tyres on it as standard. See if it takes its crest well. Yep. See, that's what I quite like about it. This chassis resets and the grip's there, you know. Look, this is not some crazy dynamic car, but overall, I have to say, I'm decently impressed. And I'm going to find a few more country roads just to try and get a summarisation of what we feel about this in terms of the chassis. But on first feel, it's very decent, guys. Very, very decent. And again, what you have to remember, which I forget about, this car is £25,000. I think 27 for the Noble model, which has like dual electric seats, 360-degree cameras added, as well as some other things. And again, I'll put the spec on here for you now. But honestly, there is... it's actually not bad at all, you know. Now I'm pushing it on a little bit more. The grip levels are good. Yes, you can feel it's high, like I said, but overall, it's a sprightly car, and it's decently fun. Yeah, it's decently fun. And again, for what you get, you feel like you're in. You know, look, OMODA are new to the market. They're not new in terms of as manufacturers go, because in China they've been going for 21 years and they're massively successful for a good reason. I am very impressed with this car. What you forget is that you're in a £25,000 car. However, you're in a brand new car that's £25,000, and if you look at the cars that you can get for £25,000, it's not a lot. So to know that you've got a car with this level of interior, like I said before, it feels like something more akin to a £40,000-50,000 car. I'm not just saying it, the quality of the interior is beautiful, and the spec and the things that you get in this car are unbelievable. 50-watt charging with cooling, this cubby hole in here, which is called heated seats, heated steering wheel, standard in a £25,000 car, guys. With the Noble range, like with the Noble model, you get a few extra things. £27,000 for a car that is, you know, not a million miles off being like, you know, hot hatch quick. It's like warm to hot hatch quick, with a boot to match, good space in the rear occupancy, and a decent chassis. It's lively. I mean, their brakes are really sharp, and it moves around a little bit, but in a nice playful way. And I'll tell you what, it's a really decently quick car, guys. Brakes, like I say, great little roads for this. I don't know them, so I'm going to be a bit careful. There's a lot of loose mud on this surface as well, but it's good for us to test this chassis out. I'm not going to go too fast because there might be a vehicle come the other way. But yeah, what I noticed more than anything is the way it kind of soaks up these lumps and bumps of these UKB roads and these back roads. Very, very testing for a car, but it soaks up these bumps so well. And overall the chassis is good. It's not a crazy dynamic sharp car, not at all. If you kind of look at this car and isolate it as a car, as an overall package, as a car that you could daily, I think this is excellent, like really good. For £25,000, outstanding. If you isolate it and you kind of start looking at it in a dynamic way, and you compare it to things like a Cupra Born, it's probably the only thing in this kind of area in terms of price. I mean, it's still way more expensive to Cupra Born. Then the chassis on the Cupra Born is better, but the interior on this is probably better. Not probably, it is better, and you're getting more spec for your money. Like I say, you're probably looking at spending £15,000 to £20,000 more on an equivalent Cupra Born with the same kind of pace. And from my experience of being with a Cupra Born for a long period of time, this feels quicker in a straight line, not quicker around the twisties. But this is a £25,000 car. Now, if you spec one similar to the one that I had, you're looking at £44,000. So like I say, you're talking about nearly £20,000 more expensive a car. You can nearly get another one of these. You can nearly get two of these for that equivalent. So if you look at it like that, as an all-round package for £25,000, if you're not one of these people that's after something so dynamically sharp and grippy and engaging, then yeah, maybe one of the other cars that you will have to spend a lot more money on will be for you. But as this go, and I know I'm comparing this to a Cupra Born, that's obviously electric, but of anything else that's in its range, like the other cars that I mentioned earlier in the channel, you're still looking at kind of 35, 45,000 pounds for a car of similar spec. And yes, perhaps you'll get a car that's more dynamic, but this car is, as an all-round package, incredible. And I would actually say I cannot rack my brain enough to understand anything that would be better value for this. So if you want to get yourself in a brand new car with a 7-year warranty, fixed price service plan as well, at dealerships that are dotted around the country now, in the UK, which is great, you've got the support. 24-hour part service from DHL, I've heard as well. So if you have an issue with this, this is how quickly these can get sorted. Absolutely unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. This car is a brilliant place to be at only £25,000. So am I impressed? Yes. You know, if I wanted a car that was similar to this, would I buy one? Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant car for the money it costs. So overall, I think Omoda have done a great job. I'm going to summarise in a mo, and like I said before, if you've got any questions, make sure you do hit us up. So that is the end of our video with the Omoda 5, and I have to say, you'll probably tell from the way I was talking, I am really actually quite impressed. Now, I'm going to come back to it, I keep coming back to it, value. £25,000 for a car in the modern day with a warranty like that, with that spec, is unheard of, and for that reason, I actually really like this car. Dynamically, yes, it's not going to be the best, absolutely not. However, as a value item in the modern day and age with that warranty, it's nothing short of staggering. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a peak performance reviews rating of 86%. If you took the value in consideration, it would definitely be low 90 percentile range. But I'm going to leave it there because me, normally, personally, if you know the channel, I'm very much into the dynamics of a car and a handling car. And this is a little bit short in that area, but that's probably only where it falls short of. On country B roads and lumpy, bumpy UK roads, the chassis is really good, and it soaks up the lumps and bumps of a UK B road really well. For that reason, I find for its purpose and for what it needs to do in the UK for that price, it's incredible, and it's a really good car, and you should definitely consider it. Links in the bio to everything, and yeah, massive thanks to Omoda for lending us the car. It's been great. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe. See you again in the next one. Bye for now.